Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before or since. Tall words proudly saying, "We the people."
Hi folks, welcome to another episode of Remedial Civics with the Lex Rex Institute, where we pick up where the public education system, and most private schools too, left off, and teach you about the Constitution so that you can know how our system of government works and be able to act as a responsible citizen in our society. I'm your host, or one of your hosts, Alexander Haber-Bush. I'm president of the Lex Rex Institute and also a practicing constitutional attorney.
My name is Alex Bostic. I'm a legal assistant at the Lex Rex Institute. And, but I keep talking, don't I? And today we have another clip.
And also a host.
Oh, and also a host, yeah. And today we have a clip to show you from the show Andor from Disney's, I guess, streaming
Disney
platform.
Plus, yeah.
Disney Plus, that's right.
Star Wars show.
Yes,
So
the Star Wars show, yeah.
It's actually, I don't think it's called Star Wars Andor. I think it's just Andor. But
You know, now that you mentioned it, I think that's right. Yeah. But yeah, we have another...
Partly, I mean, who's going to watch that show called Andor?
And/or? Is that the show's name? Or is it...
Well, I just mean, they're picking kind of a peripheral character to the series.
Yeah. That's
it's
what you want in... No, this is not the...
It's a great show. I just... You know, when they have shows like Obi-Wan Kenobi that are horrible, but based off of characters that everybody loves, I feel like a lot of people aren't going to be watching Andor. But I like it, and that's why we have it in these videos, and Alex likes it too. We both like it.
It also, more importantly than us liking it, somewhat, is that it actually comes up with legitimate legal issues to show and demonstrate. So this is going to be another one. I believe that today's clip's a bit more on bureaucracy and that section of how bureaucracy hates law than anything, but let's go ahead and go to it.
Which, as you know, is one of our passions at the Lex Rex Institute, is the bureaucratic overreach and non-delegation doctrine. We talked about that a lot. So let's see how that shows up in Andor.
Yeah.
This is quite the report. This happened when?
Last night, sir. I knew you were leaving this morning, and I wanted to make sure you had all the available information before your departure.
You've been very busy.
2 minute dead, sir.
This is like my favorite scene this episode.
That's not worth staying up for, then I'm not worthy of the uniform.
Have you modified your uniform?
Perhaps slightly. Pockets piping. Some light tailoring.
I know one of these men. Crevasse.
It's another reason I wanted to make sure this got the most immediate attention.
He was a squad commander on 4.
It's obviously fallen a great deal since then. He was a sentry corporal here on 1.
No mystery there. He's lucky he wasn't killed years ago. One of the most unpleasant people I've ever met.
So let's pause it here. So they're talking about a law that you may not have heard about before called murder, which says that you can't kill a human being or fetus with malice aforethought.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you do that, you're liable for a felony.
Sure.
Yeah, so, yeah, we can continue the clip.
That was okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good legal advice. That you can't
nothing in this video is legal advice.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's no suspect at this
I
point.
might go that far.
We have some excellent leads.
A human
Don't
with
murder
dark
people.
features asking about a Canary girl who might have been working in the establishment. Are there no witnesses to the actual crime? It's usually quite busy there.
Apparently not. This happened just outside the district at the plaza entrance to the causeway.
Yes,
There's
I know.
an intersection.
I
there.
said I know it. Were they robbed?
No, sir.
Tough case. Bad timing.
I'm sure that in several days, with the proper resources, I can bring this case to a...
Stop. And I don't mean just the talking, I mean stop.
Let's pause it here.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to do.
So is this just because you always like to talk about criminal procedure on this show?
Oh no, we're not talking about that. No, that's
Because
not.
this is pretty much just a police investigation.
Yeah, it's a police investigation. It's a police investigation. They stop because it's more practical for them to do so within their own bureaucracy and not be ratted out.
I think they're going to explain why in a second or two.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just keep watching that.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about any of the police procedural stuff?
Oh, I'd love to if you want to.
Well, I mean, it's
sure.
Like witnesses. You need witnesses because they're how you prove that crimes occurred.
Sure.
Like, I don't know, it's all kind of obvious. Like, I think the murder thing was fairly obvious too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, let's go back to the clip then. Yeah.
This case appears to bear all the hallmarks of what I like to describe as regrettable misadventure.
Sir.
2 dedicated pre-mor employees caught in the sad orbit of heroic calamity.
I don't
I
understand.
love that guy.
I want you to conjure a suitable accident.
But-
And let's make sure it's on the far side of the plaza. Let's get it outside the leisure zone.
But they were murdered.
No, they were killed in a fight. They're in a brothel, which we're not supposed to have, the expensive one, which they shouldn't be able to afford, a drinking Remedial, which we're not supposed to allow. Both of them supposedly on the job, which is a dismissible offence.
Yeah, not enforcing your other laws is always going to be a problem. I mean, you've seen that time and again throughout history.
Yeah.
When some laws don't get enforced, it tends to result in other laws not getting enforced.
Yeah.
Here they're saying they're not going to investigate this murder because these basically police officers, but corporate security folks were involved in a number of things that they shouldn't have been able to be doing because they were illegal, as well as clearly corrupt because they shouldn't have been able to afford it. You can see there's lots of reasons why they might want to hide what's going on here. So we already have a perverse incentive for this law enforcement agency. Let's keep watching.
Clearly harassed a human with dark features and chose the wrong person to annoy. I suspect they died rushing to aid someone in distress. Nothing too heroic, we don't need a parade. They died being helpful. Something sad but inspiring in a mundane sort of way.
So why would law enforcement want to fabricate evidence? Right? I mean, and it's, believe it or not, I can't give too many details about these cases, but we've had cases where we're dealing with potentially fabricated evidence. And why would law enforcement want to do that?
Yeah. I mean, everyone knows some sort of example of that. Like there was the Clint Eastwood movie came out a few years ago.
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
No, a few years ago, not
Unforgiven?
a few decades ago. No, that's also a few decades ago. The one
Gran
about
Torino?
The one about the man who stopped a bombing and then the FBI turned around and just accused him. I forget
the one he directed, the Richard Jewell movie. That was a really good
Richard
movie.
Jewell.
Yeah, I can actually recommend that one.
Yeah,
that was.
Well, it's an easy
if you want to see, if we want to do more episodes on procedural abuses, and
that's a great,
we should do stuff from that movie. But so we'll try to avoid that stuff for this one.
Yeah.
Why would they want to fabricate evidence? Is it just because they're bad people and they want to claim things that aren't true, or they want to find people guilty that aren't guilty? No, I think that this clip from Andor shows exactly why law enforcement might want to fabricate evidence. Let's keep watching so we can see why they're conjuring this story about something that noble but not too heroic, I think were the words he used.
You look stricken, Deputy Inspector. Are you absorbing my meaning here?
Trying, sir.
I just want to comment, Cyril's the consummate, good guy.
Yeah.
or working for the evil galactic empire, but wants to do his job properly. I just, his character is great in this show, because you usually see people that you've seen a lot of people in Star Wars that just want to be evil because they're evil.
Right.
But he genuinely wants to do his job well. He wants to be a good law enforcement officer. And unlike this guy who actually understands the system he works in, and because of that is lazy. So let's see what that system's like.
When I said bad timing, I wasn't referring to the fact that you spent all night worrying this. I meant that I am on my way this very morning to an Imperial Regional Command review.
And there we go.
Where I'll be asked to make a report about our crime rates. And the goal of that
And there we go.
speech, should you ever be asked to deliver it, is brevity. Minimizing the time the Empire spends thinking about Preox Morlana benefits our superiors and, by extension, everyone here at the pre-mor security inspection team, which at the moment includes you.
Yeah, so
that's
you might remember a few weeks ago we released a video where we talked about one of our examples of a political thing that could stop something we don't talk about anymore was jurisdiction, and whether FBI has jurisdiction, local law enforcement has jurisdiction. That's something that matters a great deal, and it matters a great deal because of situations like the one here. So why are they fabricating all this information? Why are they hiding what's actually going on Morlana 5? Because they're answerable to somebody else, and they're answerable to the Empire. That I don't remember that guy's name, but the older guy in that scene wants to minimize the amount of time that the Empire spends thinking about what they're doing on Morlana, because they're not truly an independent jurisdiction.
Right.
They're a jurisdiction that is subject to imperial jurisdiction. And therein we see one of the real downsides of a unitary system of government, which is basically what the entire world other than the United States has.
Yeah. Actually, I was gonna mention that this doesn't actually remind me of the United States as much as it reminds me of Revolutionary France or Napoleonic era French Empire is what it kind of screams to me. I'm guessing that's one of the places they took their examples of, like, don't let the department know what you're worry about what you're doing, otherwise the central government's going to know about it, and oh boy, will you be in trouble then.
Well, and because Napoleon conquered everybody and imposed the Napoleonic Code, basically everybody in Europe now has a quasi-Napoleonic system. The rest of the country has other various unitary systems of government. There are very few federations in the world, and even those that call themselves federations usually have more of a top-down model. But this is the direct risk to that top-down model, and we saw that risk materialize in the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of why the world wasn't getting accurate information about the virus, and a lot of why the virus was able to leak out of China and then go to the rest of the world, is that lower-level officials were trying to keep themselves safe from people who were higher than them. Their responsibility was not to the citizens that they protect and serve. It was to whatever government bureaucrat was above them on the chain of government being. So, that's why in this Andor clip, they get unjust rule of law throughout the galaxy, even from this private security firm that's not part of the government. Is because they're answerable to the government. They're not answerable to the people that they're policing. So that's what we want to push for, particularly in law enforcement, but really in any kind of government agency, is we don't want accountability to a central government agency or a government agency above them. We want them accountable to the people that they're responsible for administering. Because if they're accountable to them, well, what are they going to get mad about? They're not going to get mad that you didn't meet your quotas. They're not going to get and all the rest of it. They're going to get mad that, hey, why the heck do we have cops that are going to our brothels? Why do we have brothels? Why these people appear to be so wealthy? Why do I see my next door neighbor that's a police officer and he has a $100,000 RV in his driveway? He shouldn't be able to afford that. Those are the sorts of things that an accountable, responsible citizenry will notice in law enforcement that are not the kind of thing that a central government's going to care about. So I think that Andor, even from its very first episode, because that clip was from the first episode, does a really good job of showing why tyranny happens. It's not just that there's bad people who want to do bad things. That's out there, but those people are mostly criminals. They're not really in our government. Government gets bad because people like power inherently, and if you structure power poorly, that power will be used in a way that is abusive of the people's rights instead of conducive to their rights. People need to be the ones that are ultimately responsible for how the government works, and then we need to actually step up and hold them accountable. So, folks, step one, we're in luck. We live in the United States. At least like 95% of our viewers live in the United States. For those who don't, my sincerest condolences to you and your family. But for those who do live in the United States, step one's done. We have a system of government that holds people accountable for what they do. We got to focus on step two, actually holding them accountable. How do we do that? We said it before, two ways. Front end, we have to vote wisely. If people are doing a bad job, don't re-elect them. Know which offices are appointed and which ones are elected. Most sheriffs, at least in California, most county sheriffs are elected. Most police chiefs are appointed, often by a city council. So if you live in a city where you have a police chief, know who's responsible for putting that person in charge. Know if they're doing a good job. If the person that's responsible for appointed them badly, show up at city council meetings. Tell them you don't like what the police chief is doing, and if they don't change it, vote them out. That's how we protect things on the front end. We also can bring public attention to things. If our friends are all mad about it, bring them all to the city council meeting. It does make a difference. But on the back end, we have to protect these things as well. When there are abuses, we have to hold public officials accountable. Now, there is a fiduciary duty public officials have to we the people, and that requires they exercise a duty of both care and loyalty, and we can hold them to account for that. There's circumstances where we have to be fairly creative in how we hold them accountable for what they're doing, but we can almost always do it. So if things do go wrong, everybody votes right, we get the right guy in office, and he still won't do what he's supposed to do, we have to make sure that guy's held accountable too. And front end, back end, make sure both of those are covered. We're going to show you how to do that. Hopefully we've shown you a little bit more of how to do that today.
Sure. Yeah.
So if you folks found this video helpful, be sure to hit like, subscribe, and click on that bell icon. I don't know what the heck subscribe does if it doesn't notify you that you've posted new content, but I guess that's what the bell icon does, so click on that. And if you want to learn more in the meantime, check out our website, lexrex.org/donate. You can contribute to the fight for constitutional liberties, join us in that effort, and get a book in the process, get a free book in the process where you can learn about those constitutional liberties. So, all right, anything you want to add, Alex, about?
No, I think that covers it. Yeah, we're
okay.
good.
All right, thank you so much for watching, folks. See you again next week.
Have a good night.